Konstantin establishes another arrangement to remain. At the Brady bar, Harris ran into Chad, and Chad welcomed Harris to join his table. "What are you doing here on Christmas Day by yourself?" Harris inquired. With a shrug, Chad said he needed to have some time alone to contemplate his missteps that year. Chad added that his children were with Doug and Julie. "What brings you here?" Chad inquired. Harris conceded that he had no place to go. "I was wanting to enjoy it with Ava, however the universe had different plans," Harris said. Harris added it wasn't his first breakup over Christmas. Separations are unpleasant any time. Be that as it may, special times of year? "Damn," Chad said. That's what Chad noticed, not at all like Harris, he knew why he had been unloaded. Chad stated, "I made an unforgivable error." "I committed an error, as well," Harris said. Harris noticed that he had kissed one more lady while intoxicated, however he didn't name Stephanie. However, Ava cannot forgive. "Any opportunity you and Stephanie can resolve things?" Harris inquired. Chad shook his head no. Everett strolled in. Chad and Everett wished each other a happy holidays. "Harris, this is Everett Lynch, the person who supplanted me in Stephanie's life," Chad said. Everett emphasized that Stephanie and he were only friends. "Stephanie made it extremely clear she's having some time off from men and connections," Everett said. "Indeed, have a seat then," Chad said. As Everett plunked down, Harris asked him how he knew Stephanie. Everett made sense of that he had worked with her in Seattle. Chad laughed as he noticed that the relationship had been in excess of a functioning one. Everett gave an affirmative nod. Everett stated, "I just didn't feel the need to get into all that right now." "You were being thoughtful," Chad said with a giggle. Chad noticed that Harris didn't know Stephanie. "You may be asking why Everett and I were both so stricken by her." "She's sort of overwhelming," Chad said. Everett concurred that Stephanie was a magnificent individual. Harris steered the conversation in a different direction, and he got some information about Everett. Everett asked Harris if his skills as a Navy SEAL helped with the police work because he noted that he did not like to talk about himself. "Not with the case I'm on this moment," Harris conceded. Chad noticed that it was a miserable fortuitous event that them three had appeared at the bar alone on Christmas. "We ought to make it a practice," Chad said. Everett and Harris went along with Chad, and they concurred. According to Chad, it was more entertaining than the awkward family gatherings. Harris noticed that he had no family around, however he was glad to have some time off from work with Chad and Everett. "Are you on call for Christmas?" Everett inquired. Harris acknowledged that he had signed up for the opportunity to spend the holiday with officers who had families. "It's been calm up to this point," Harris said. Inquisitive, Everett got some information about Harris's ongoing risky case. "A rise in drug-related offenses," Harris explained. "My intuition tells me with the action, there's another player around," Harris conceded. Harris went on to say that the mayor and council had been controlling the commissioner. Everett rebutted, "So, the commissioner is probably breathing down yours." Harris gestured yes. Everett noticed that he and Harris had comparative positions. "We both got to continue to dig, follow every one of the leads, leave no stone left unturned," Everett said. "Exactly. Furthermore, I plan to do all of that," Harris said. Chad looked at his telephone, and he noticed that he expected to get his children soon. Everett let Chad know that his children were exceptionally sweet. "I'm grateful. My proudest achievement." "Indeed, mine and Abby's," Chad said. Harris's telephone rang with a tip about a medication shipment. Everett inquired as to whether he could do a ride along, yet Harris said no. "Perhaps finish up all the administrative work from the city lawyer in the event that you wind up dead," Harris said. Everett gave Harris his card, and he requested that Harris call assuming there were any improvements for the situation. "It very well may not be anything, or it very well may be the break I'm hanging tight for," Harris said. After Harris left, Everett and Chad discussed the medication issues in Salem. "I get the inclination from Harris that the circumstance is spiraling wild," Everett said. Chad concurred that breaking the story could be enormous for the paper. Certain individuals who won't converse with a cop could converse with a columnist, Everett said. All right, Mr. Brave, insightful correspondent. You prepared to acquire your stripes? Chad asked with a smile. On the docks, Ava got together with Stefan. What amount of time is this expected to require? Ava inquired. You know how this functions. We get word that there will be a shipment, we should be here to get it, Stefan said. Ava lamented that she would have to spend Christmas on a chilly dock. Stefan mumbled that he had not intended to spend the majority of Christmas in a prison hospital. How's Gabby doing? Ava inquired. Stefan admitted, I've never seen her so scared. Stefan contended that the staff in the clinic had been savage and mean. Does Gabby know that we were to blame for what happened to her? Ava inquired. She is now fully informed. Keeping an eye out overall quite well, Stefan said. Stefan said that Gabby's imprisonment for a crime she had not committed was bad enough, but he was worried about what would happen to her if she wasn't released soon. What's more, on the off chance that you were pondering exactly that I am so frantic to get Gabby out of there, I went to EJ requested that him for help dispose of Clyde, Stefan admitted. Ava's eyes augmented. Is it true that you are insane? What did you tell him? Ava inquired. Stefan conceded that he had told EJ the full story. Consider the possibility that he completely exposes this entire thing. He is the DA, for the well-being of God, Ava snarled. Stefan reminded Ava that EJ was a DiMera and had a set of experiences with Clyde. It's all debatable. He turned me down, Stefan murmured. Baffled, Ava hollered at Stefan for having made things harder. Stefan contended that Ava had not effectively assisted with settling their concerns. After Ava took a full breath, she noticed that they couldn't turn on each other. We should simply zero in on what's happening here this evening, Ava said. Stefan concurred that they couldn't stand to cause Clyde's rage once more. With a moan, Stefan mourned that Ava had said a final farewell to Harris. Stefan stated it might have been nice to keep tabs on what the police know and are doing. Irritated, Ava reminded Stefan that he had cautioned her that dating Harris was excessively perilous. Furthermore, in case it isn't obvious, I didn't say a final farewell to him since I was anxious about the possibility that he could coincidentally find what we're doing here. I said a final farewell to him since I would have rather not taken a risk that he could get found out in the crossfire on the off chance that things go sideways, Ava protested. Stefan noticed that it seemed like Ava had truly thought often about Harris. Ava lamented, this has got to be a new low, after a man dropped off the shipment. Getting a medication bargain on Christmas Day. Stefan noticed that dissimilar to street pharmacists, he trusted the police had gone home for the day. Stefan stupidly opened a pack in the open to affirm that the medications were in the shipment. Wow, that's a lot of pills, mumbled Stefan. As Stefan noticed that they expected to get the shipment inside, Harris shouted to them. What's happening? Harris inquired. At the Kiriaki's chateau, Maggie and Sarah welcomed Justin. Justin made sense of that Bonnie was with her little girl and granddaughter, and she had sent her affection. And speaking of gorgeous infants, where is your infant? Justin inquired. Here. Xander shouted as he went into the room with child Victoria. Sarah screeched as she ran over to welcome her little girl. How was your time at Daddy's house? Sarah said. Justin and Maggie traded a gander at each other and grinned. It appears as though you have absolutely taken to parenthood, Justin said. More than I at any point might have envisioned, Xander said. Xander and Sarah grinned at each other. Maggie wheezed as she saw Alex enter with Teresa. Alex embraced Justin.